Hello and welcome to Southampton on the south coast of England. It's sometimes referred to as our version of Miami. But that's not because of the weather, it's because of those things, cruise ships. Southampton is the UK's busiest and most important cruise terminal. Well, at least the rain has stopped. If you're in Southampton on a cruise ship, then the chances are that you're either beginning or ending your cruise here. British ships, they sail down to the Mediterranean or the Canary Islands, or they go up to the Norwegian fjords or into the Baltic Sea. Fabulous holidays. Or you will be either beginning or ending a transatlantic line voyage. That's where the phrase ocean liner comes from, a line voyage from point A to point B. In the case of Southampton, they're these days done on the Queen Mary 2. It takes about 6 days in absolute sumptuous, superb style, the only way to cross the Atlantic. But if you are here just as a passenger for a day, you're probably thinking, I'd like to go to London. Well, London's 75 miles away. It takes about 2 hours on the train. By the time you've got there, really it's going to be time to come back, and you're not going to enjoy it, frankly. So what is there to do in and around the port of Southampton? Well, for a start, we can look into the most famous ocean liner that ever sailed from this city. On April the 10th, 1912, the Titanic. Now, as you know, on the fourth night of that voyage, at about 20 to midnight, Titanic hit an iceberg, and at 2:20 the following morning, on the 15th of April 1912, she sank. Of 2,200 and some people on board, 1,517 died, including all the engineers. Now, behind the Union flag there is a memorial to the Titanic's engineers. They stayed at their posts and they went down with the ship, and they kept the boilers going and the lights on until the last possible moment. It's a result of their bravery that any time you see an engineering officer now on a cruise ship or any ship, you'll see purple stripes in with his rank markings on his shoulders. And that was by order of George V, that to commemorate the Titanic's engineers. From then onwards, engineers could wear royal purple on their shoulders. Now, there's about to be a ceremony to unveil this monument, which has been restored by Channel 4 television in the UK. But before that happens, let's go and look at a smaller monument just over there to some equally brave people. This is to the musicians who played on the Titanic as the ship went down. You saw it in the film. Well, it's true. Here are their names and the inscription. They died at their posts like men. Now, you could spend a whole day following the Titanic trail. You can go to the Maritime Museum. That's £2.50 to go in, and that's got a whole floor dedicated to the history of the Titanic. Or we could go a little bit further afield. Southampton is actually right on the edge of the New Forest, which is the oldest national park in the world. To get there, let's catch the ferry over the river to Hythe. The little boat service runs every 30 minutes. Costs £2.70 for a return trip. And when you get there, this little railway, built in 1914, 700 yards long, it's the oldest pier railway in the world. That'll take you into the centre of the village. Or you could come out here to the New Forest. 250 square miles of unrestricted woodland. It's the oldest national park in the world. It was established by King William I in the year 1079 as his private deer hunting ground. These days, like the horses, you can walk for miles and miles through peaceful woodland. No hunting though, only the Queen can do that. Now, from Hythe you can catch the bus and you can go to Beaulieu. Here you'll find Beaulieu Palace. It was built as the entrance to a monastery in the 13th century. In 1538, King Henry VIII closed down all the monasteries. He wanted to divorce Catherine of Aragon and marry wife number 2, Anne Boleyn, a marriage which didn't go particularly well. Anyway, the palace was sold to the Montagu family, and to this day there's still a Montagu in there. Baron Montagu still lives in there. In the grounds of here is the National Motor Museum, an astonishing place. It's got more than 250 vehicles, the most important cars, automobiles, ever made. It's got the oldest ever one, right up to present day. It's got lots of the James Bond cars. It's even got the Reliant Robin from Only Fools and Horses, and it's got Mr. Bean's Mini. Fantastic place, just up there. Now there's one more place I want to show you. It's the beautiful village of Lyndhurst. I'm going to tell you a fairy story.
Now, once upon a time, actually back in 1856, there was a 4-year-old girl called Alice Liddell, who was the favourite friend of a 25-year-old writer called Charles Dodgson. He used to make up stories for her. Eventually he published them. He used the name Lewis Carroll, and he named the lead character after her, Alice in Wonderland. Now, in later life, Alice married a rich cricket player called Reginald Hargreaves, but after he died, she fell on hard times. She even had to sell her original manuscript copy, and she moved here to Lyndhurst. When she died, she was cremated, and her ashes are here in this memorial at the back of the church. The grave of Mrs. Reginald Hargreaves, Alice in Wonderland.
And that's the end of this story as well. I hope you've enjoyed it. Until I see you again, cheerio.